Corporal Coleman, State of Wisconsin versus Gregory Edis, file 24 CF 1227. Could the parties please state their appearances for the record today?
Melinda Tuplis appears on behalf of the state.
Attorney Mevis appears with Mr. Edis from the county jail.
We find good cause to appear by audio or visual means based upon the nature of today's court proceeding. We're here today for an initial appearance on file 24 CF 1227. How would you like to schedule this particular matter, Attorney Mevis?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would note a special appearance, reserve objections. At this point in time, Mr. Edis is not eligible, but pending further verification that may change in short order. We would note receive the complaint. We would waive a reading of that at this time and ask that this matter be scheduled for further proceedings in the next week or so.
And before we do so, would you like to be heard on the issue of bond today?
I'm taking no position at this time.
And what is the state's position regarding bond today, Attorney Tuplis?
The defendant has a prior case that he had in Allegheny County that involved him threatening his wife with a firearm that he completed a deferred agreement on. However, the case that's before us today involves him going over to his father's house the Sunday before Thanksgiving and shooting approximately somewhere in the range of 15 shots at his father. Directly, he was in the house for just moments after driving extremely fast down the road, screeching his car to a halt, yelling some profane language before kicking the door in, leaving the door frame broken, and neighbors hearing tons of gunshots coming out of the residence. He then left the residence, drove down the street, shortly thereafter drove back around the block, came in again, went into the house, was there for less than a minute again, I believe to confirm that his dad was deceased, got in a car, led officers on a high-speed chase from approximately the area of Calumet Street and Oneida Street to 441, around to Highway 41, up to Highway J, at which time the officers had to perform a pit maneuver to get him to stop as he was fleeing. He then got out of the vehicle, he fled on foot, required numerous officers to attempt to take him into custody. At one point in time, one of the lieutenants indicated that he looked down and the defendant had his hand on his gun. Officers were able to get him into custody, take him to he went by ambulance to the hospital because of some injuries he had where he made statements relating to the incident. Excuse me. He in his vehicle had a firearm consistent with the firearm used in this particular incident. There was an open case upon a search of his residence where that firearm box was located. And at this point in time, the state believes an extremely significant amount of cash bond is appropriate. In addition to a significant amount of cash bond, the state would ask for conditions to include that he not possess any firearms or weapons of any kind, that he maintain absolute sobriety but for any medications that are prescribed to him, that he comply with any potential mental health order that may exist, as well as have high pretrial level services should he post. The state has reason to believe, and I think to some degree confirmed by the fact that he's not SPD eligible, that he does have access to money. The state is aware that he was employed and had income of over 6 digits. He was driving a BMW SUV and has access to money that the state is concerned he could potentially use to post. So with that information, the state has concerns about a flight risk based upon his fleeing and his uncooperative nature with officers to also support the significant amount of cash bond.
Anything further on the issue of bond today, Attorney Mevis?
Your Honor, I would reserve the right to bring that issue up in the future and take no further position at this point in time.
Is the defendant's current address the same as listed on the criminal complaint?
Yes, it is.
And if the parties will bear with me in reading a somewhat lengthy criminal complaint. Court will take into consideration that Mr. Edis is a Fox Valley resident with family in the area and gainful employment. Take into consideration, other hand, he has some sort of prior record or contact history of law enforcement, as indicated by the state today. In addition, I'll take into consideration the serious nature of the allegations in the criminal complaint into account. Otherwise, I would be remiss in my duties. We have multiple felony allegations before the court. We also have misdemeanor allegations. We have allegations of resisting an officer, allegations of attempting to flee or elude an officer in nature. Then we have first-degree intentional homicide allegations before the court today, where the defendant is facing up to a life sentence. Quite frankly, by definition, the defendant is a danger to the public and a flight risk, and under the circumstances, I believe a $2 million cash bail bond is appropriate. Specific condition of bond to be a condition that the defendant not operate a motor vehicle during the pendency of the matter. Also order that the defendant not use or possess any dangerous weapons or firearms for the pendency of the matter. Also order that the defendant maintain absolute sobriety but for any prescribed medications. Also order that the defendant cooperate with any sort of mental health services he may or may not be receiving at the present time. Also order that the defendant not leave the state of Wisconsin during the pendency of the matter. In order that the defendant surrender his passport if he has one. As far as scheduling is concerned, looks like we could schedule a further proceedings date back here, Attorney Mevis. Would you like that fairly soon or not?
Judge, what are we looking at if it's fairly soon?
Well, probably something around the new year.
Yes, please, that date and time.
Schedule further proceedings back here on January 2nd at 9:30 in the morning.
Thank you.
Unless there's something further, this matter is adjourned.